Well, it's getting to the end of 2024. Probably still time to squeeze in a few more wrap-up videos for the year gone past. And today what I want to talk about are the three brands that I think had really killer 2024s that really brought it home this year. See me after the intro for more. Hi, I'm Pete McConville and welcome to my channel. Here I like to overthink, overanalyze and just geek out on watches far too much. Today what I want to talk about are the three brands that I think had absolutely killer 2024s. One of the things I'll note is just because you're not on this list doesn't mean you had a bad 2024. That's another video. But these are the three brands in my wheelhouse that I pay attention to that I think had a great year. In 2024, Tudor did something really quite tricky. They managed to provide some really solid releases for their base alongside watches that really expanded their audience. If you're an existing Tudor fan, that's probably going to mean you're an existing Black Bay fan. And in that case, Tudor gave you pretty much everything you wanted in 2024. You got that really nice blue chrono, you got the Black Bay 58 GMT that so many people were after, the Black Bay monochromatic master chronometer, which was just ideal for the kind of Black Bay fan. Really, this is just perfect red meat for the base. Everything that has made Tudor incredibly popular with a sizable and vocal group of fans right now. But if you weren't already a Tudor fan, that probably meant you weren't already a fan of the Black Bay, and those watches did nothing for you, perhaps even further alienated you. However, the good news is Tudor extended an olive branch to people like that, people like me, as well. The Pelagos line, specifically the FXD line, has got people like us covered. The Pelagos FXD GMT and the Pelagos FXD Chrono, the cycling version, really reaches out to us, those of us that haven't warmed to Tudor so far or the Black Bay family in general. If you look at the Morgan Stanley results over the last 4 or 5 years, and yeah, those may or may not be accurate, it would appear as though Tudor has kind of stalled, perhaps even gone backwards. A fact which is masked by having so many Tudor fans in the media who are constantly telling us that Tudor are killing it, Tudor are growing, Tudor are amazing. But if you look at the numbers, they've kind of stalled. My theory is that Tudor has kind of reached the natural limit of what it can achieve by being a Black Bay brand. It knows this, which is why the Pelagos is going in such a different direction, why we're getting the FXD, and why we're getting these new and more interesting watches. And I think that it's amazingly successful. People like me are starting to notice that Tudor is reaching out to us. And I think being able to do those two things at once, satisfy your existing audience and find a new one, is an amazingly difficult thing to do, which is why I think Tudor, having done that in 2024, has had such a good year. Okay, brand number 2 that's had a great year is Hermes. And this really shows the power of one really well-designed watch to cut through and fill out a lineup. Now, I've done a whole video on the importance of the Hermes cut. I'll put a link in it to the description, hopefully. But in short, I believe that the cut gives Hermes a platform to really go after the Lady Datejust crowd, the well-heeled but also soft underbelly of the Rolex fan base. And it does this in two ways. First, the cut is designed from the ground up as a woman's watch with women in mind. Watches, despite what anyone tells you, are not inherently gender free. Watches are jewelry, they're accessory, they're clothing, they're luxuries. All of those things naturally come with gendered overtones. Look at women's clothing, look at their shoes, look at their earrings, their bracelets, their rings, their hairstyles, their color palettes, the textures and shapes we give to women. They are all different to the kinds of things that we would think of as being for men or masculine. To try and pretend that watches don't carry that through is really to just deny reality. For women, Rolex offer the Lady Datejust. It's not called that, but if you look at pretty much half the Datejusts that are 36 and all of the Datejusts that are 31, they're clearly directed at women. These watches have been obviously feminized, but they are also equally obviously feminized versions of watches originally designed for the male wrist. The cut reverses that. The fundamental shape, the curves, the way things are put together with the cut is organically and at its root feminine, and it never verges into the obvious ladies watch territory. The cut is a genuine 2024 sports watch, but a sports watch designed for girls from the ground up, not built for boys but with a pink dial added. And it's that right down in their bones, at the root of the design thought, where it was designed probably by a woman for women, that I think gives the cut a fundamental long-term advantage over the Rolex Datejust. Two, I also suspect that the number of women fighting to climb the greasy pole to win a Birkin bag far outweighs the number of women that are going to put their name down for a GMT Master or a Daytona. And the cut is a perfect way to make your mount and start reaching for the brass ring of a Birkin. In the end, it doesn't matter why people buy a watch, only that they do. And I think that Hermes with the cut in 2024 has found a fantastic opening to that market. And in the long run, could fundamentally reshape sort of at least that section of women's sports watches. Okay, my third brand that had a really good 2024 is Omega. Omega has done a great job capitalizing on the momentum that the Moon Swatch collab gave them. And in 2024, they really nailed it with a trio of Speedmaster releases. The first was the white Speedmaster, which in a way is nothing special. It's just a white dialed Speedy, but it's also so much more. The varnished and lacquered dial combined with those diamond polished black PVD hands and hour markers really elevate the Speedy from being a simple toolish watch and made it feel different. It made it feel indulgent. It made it feel more luxurious. It wasn't the most luxurious Speedmaster ever produced. It's not the most expensive. It's not the most complicated. There are numerous baller Speedies already, but what set this one apart is that it's not for the rarefied 1%ers. This is an indulgent luxury Speedmaster aimed at the heart of the enthusiast group, aimed at the core of the watch geek heartland. We noticed that and we liked it. Omega followed that up with the first Omega in space, which is a weird watch, clearly retro inspired, obviously drawing from the NASA space cues that Omega has been drinking from for the last, 5 decades. But at the same time, something very different. The shade-shifting blue-grey-black dial with its radial brushing, the photina, the new but old bracelet, the case shape were all conversation starting, actually a little divisive, but also kind of cool. I feel that especially in the wake of the earlier white-dialed Speedy, the first Omega in space did its bit to further zhuzh the Speedmaster line and give it a bit more panache. Finally, we've got the not the Flightmaster Speedmaster Pilot. Based off a restricted release, a watch originally designed solely for US military pilots, but with significantly more fun. The Speedy Pilot really rounded out an excellent year for Omega in general and the Speedmaster in particular. Colourful, playful, interesting backstory, cool antecedents, and a really solid base in the original Speedmaster. The new Flightmaster, sorry, Speedmaster Pilot, really has it all. And again, along with the White Dial Speedy and along with the first Omega in space, really added something to the idea of what a Speedmaster can be and made us notice and look at this release, this watch line, in a whole new way. That wasn't all Omega did. There was a couple of really nice Seamasters in there as well. But I think it's the Speedmasters, and in particular the first Omega in space and the Speedmaster Pilot, that really added something to Omega in 2024, really changed the way we look at that brand. And for that reason, I give Omega a massive 2 thumbs up for 2024. Okay, so that's it. They're my three big brand winners for the year. Now, a couple of things I should point out. I didn't mention Cartier. That's not because I thought they had a bad year. It's because Cartier are so outside my wheelhouse aesthetically that to watch Cartier, to analyze them, to think about them, is really, really hard work. I never look at Cartier for enjoyment. It's solely for work. And since I don't do this channel to work, I tend not to look at them at all. And so I just don't know how to assess them. I just don't know whether Cartier had a good year or a bad year. You guys can tell me in the comments below. Some other brands that had good years would be, I think JLC had an excellent year, not quite cracking the top three, but they had some really nice releases, both in their core and their baller lines. And I think that Czapek also had an excellent year. Again, new to me, an indie brand, which is probably new to a lot of people. So they're still figuring out who they are. We're still figuring out who they are. But I think they had a really good 2024. So anyway, that's it. I've been Pete McConville. This is what I do. They're my three best brands of 2024. You tell me in the comments what you think should or should not have made the list. And I will see you later. Bye.